Portals by Melanie Martinez is the album that we're talking about today. Melanie Martinez is back with another album for the first time in a while. Now, I will admit right off the bat, I'm not too familiar with her older work, so this is kind of my first time dipping my toes into the world of Miss Martinez. Although I've heard some singles here and there, like way back in the day, but this is my first time listening through a whole album, so I'm not judging this based off of any previous sounds or anything like that. This is purely blind. I think the album is cool. It has a lot of cool vibes, a lot of wacky ideas floating around, almost too many ideas at some points. There's a lot of vocoding. There's a vocoder in pretty much every single song. There's a lot of cool production stuff going on, a lot of different cool vibes, but the production throughout the whole album is very consistent. It all feels like it's a part of the same world, despite each song being completely different. The melodies are kind of all over the place. It's kind of hard to keep up with at some points. Some of the songs are not very catchy. Some songs are more catchy than others, but most of the time the melodies are kind of all over the place. More like Melody Martinez, am I right? But overall, it's a pretty cool album. There were some cool concepts. I'm not a huge fan of the lyrics. They didn't do very much for me, but the album cover looks cool. I like the aesthetic. I like all the promotional material and the merch. I think a lot of it is really cool. I like the weird fairy type imagery. I like it a lot. But before we get into reviewing the individual songs, most of you aren't actually subscribed. You see that percentage? Yeah, most of the people that watch my videos aren't even subscribed. So if you want to join the crew, then click on that subscribe button below. Stick around. We have some cool stuff coming. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. The album starts off with the song Death, which is a banger. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. Opens really, really strong. I like the guitar intro. The melodies are good, and the pre-chorus is weird and ominous. Not my favorite part of the song, but it does its job. I like the vibes. And then the chorus is really, really catchy. It's kind of hard to go wrong when you have a chorus that just repeats the same thing over and over again, but it works here. I like it. It's a good introduction to the vocoder sound that sticks through the whole album, and I absolutely love the grungy like post-chorus. I think it's really good. I think it's really vibey, and it's kind of rough around the edges, and the drums are cool, and I like it a lot. And I also really love the difference between verse 1 and verse 2. If you listen to verse 1 and then verse 2 right afterwards, you hear how different they are, and I like that a lot. And the same thing with chorus 1 and chorus 2. The choruses sound a lot different from each other, and I really like that, because then you're hearing the same section over again, but it's completely different, but it's still the same part, but it sounds different, and it's cool, and I love it, and I think it's a cool addition. It's a very, very strong intro to the album, and I think it's one of the best songs. Then it goes into the song Void, which I'm not the biggest fan of. There are some cool elements in it. It kind of sounds like Hey Violet, if you know that band. The production is very similar and the vocal style is very similar, but I like the production in this song. I like the pre-chorus melody a lot. I think that's really, really cool. However, I don't like the chorus very much. That's kind of a common thing on this album for me personally. I don't like a lot of the choruses, and Void is one of them. It's not strong enough. It's not hype enough for my liking. The melody is a bit strange. It's an alright song though. But then it goes into Tunnel Vision, which I love. One of my favorites on the album as well. I love the sneaky sounding hip-hop vibe, the pizzicato strings. The production is really, really good. It reminds me of my own production as well. But again, the chorus doesn't really do that much for me. The chorus is not the strongest part of this song. I think the verses and the outro are definitely the best parts of the song, and I really love the 3/4 outro. Cool switch up that I really, really like. I like the drums. I like the weird glassy sounding things in the outro. I think it's a really cool way to end the song. And then the ambient stuff in the very end of the song, I think that's a really cool transition as well. Very good song. Then it goes into I don't know how you pronounce that. My apologies. I don't speak French anymore. I'm sorry. But I really like this song as well. It's short and sweet. It's definitely, I think it's one of the most unique songs on the album. I really, really like the percussion and the production in the whole song. It's kind of a reggaeton / Latin sounding vibe, which I really, really dig. I think it's very, very unique sounding. I think it stands out from the rest of the album. And again, the vocoder is still going strong in this one. And yet another 3/4 outro, which I like. Light Shower is a decent ballad. I'm not the biggest fan of ballads in general, where not a whole lot happens. This is one of them. There's nothing really interesting about it. There's not much going on. I don't have much to say about it. I do like the lyrics though, so it's meh. It's alright. It's alright. Then it goes into Spiderweb, which is a full-on Billie Eilish song. I like the swingy vibe. I really like the chorus in that one, and the post-chorus I think is cool. The instrumental, weird bassy sound stuff I really like a lot. I like the weird sounding piano stuff stuff and the string stuff that's happening. The production and the whole vibe of the song, I think, is one of the more unique sounding ones as well. All around banger, one of my favorites on the album. I like it a lot. Then it goes into Leeches, which sounds straight out of a fucking movie. You could put this in like a really dramatic film and it would work really well. This song feels like a better version of Light Shower. There's more stuff going on. It's more dramatic. Although I don't think the melodies are as strong as in Light Shower, the vibes and how dramatic it is and the production I think is a lot better. But then the next song, Battle of the Larynx, I think is one of the best songs in the whole album, if not the best. It's an absolute banger. I really like the melodies in that one. I really like the intense production. I like how catchy it is. I absolutely love the drums in this one as well. This is one of the few songs that are like really catchy, which I like a lot because a lot of the songs are kind of out in the open when it comes to melodies. This one definitely feels really solid and feels very polished, and I like that a lot. It's my favorite one. Then it goes into the Contortionist. I know everyone likes this one. It's not my favorite. I think it's a weaker version of Tunnel Vision. It has a lot of similar elements and vibes, but I think the production is just not as strong in this one. I don't think the melodies are anything outstanding either. Again, it doesn't really stick, but I think the overall vibes of the song are cool. I like the production in it. Again, the production in like every single song is really good on this album. I like the use of the sound effects, the like bone crackling, mangling, weird sound effects as the snare / clap thing. I think that's a cool idea. I just would have loved if this song went a little bit further in terms of like musicality and exploration. I think this song has a lot of potential, but I feel like it kind of falls flat at the end of it. Moon Cycle is one of the more catchier songs. I like the melodies in that one a lot. I think it's very memorable. I like the lyrics. I like the cool, chill kind of vibe that it goes for. And I think this song kind of proves to me that I think Melanie Martinez is better at doing shorter songs than like longer experiences. And I like my longer songs. I think longer songs usually are better, gives you more time to explore different ideas. But I think Melanie Martinez does better when she kind of squishes it a bit together. And I think Moon Cycle is a real testament to that. I think Moon Cycle is great. I like the verses and the choruses. Not many flaws in this one. I like this one quite a bit. And then it goes into Nymphology, which I also think is quite good. Although, again, the chorus is my least favorite in the song. I don't like the chorus very much. It's kind of sung in an annoying tone and the melody is a bit weird. But other than that, I think the song is really good. And I think the verse melodies are very catchy. I think the lyrics are quite cool. The push your penis into your mouth line is very good. The post-chorus is really good as well. I really like the post-chorus. And then the switch up in the very end of the song, I think is really cool. I really like the difference there. Although I think the switch up is actually better than the rest of the song. So, yeah. And then it transitioned into Evil, which I think is really cool. I really like the transition there, the kind of weird drum fills and whatnot into the next song, which I think is really cool. I like when songs end on like a completely different note than it started on. Cool ending. I like it a lot. Then it goes into Evil, which is one of my favorites as well. I really like the kind of down-tempo, slow-paced, bassy sounding vibe, and the vocals are filtered and all muffled and stuff. But then there's a big explosion in the chorus. I really like that a lot. I really like the upbeat chorus and the catchiness. It's one of the catchier ones on the album as well. And I really like the post-chorus, the kind of instrumental synth stuff playing the chorus melody. I think that's really cool. And in the second chorus, this song definitely feels like one of the more polished songs writing-wise. I think it's really solid in terms of harmonic content. The chords and the melodies are really strong in this one. And then the last song, Womb, I think is one of my favorites as well. These last two songs are really good back to back. I think the intro guitar riff is really cool, kind of reminds me of Jake Hill. And I like the funky chorus. The melodies are really good. The production is solid, like in pretty much all of them. And I absolutely love the halftime in the second pre-chorus. You know, I love that shit. Love me some halftime. And I really like the upbeat finale to the album. I think it's a really cool ending. I think it's a good send-off. I think overall, this song is really cool. It's one of the more memorable ones for sure. It's very funky, very fresh, and I think it's frankly a bit underrated. So overall, I think it's a pretty good album. There are some highs, there are some lows, and I think it wouldn't be fair to talk about this album unless I would go to my fiancé, who actually suggested that I should review this album. So let's hear what she thinks. Portals review, go.
Okay. I've been a fan of her for years. Lovely lady. This album is like way different than any of her other stuff for like a lot of reasons, but the thing about it that's the most different in my opinion is how like grungy it sounds and how like down and dirty it is. And a lot of her other stuff is more traditional like pop. Death, for example, the first song has that like really nice like vocoded intro, and then it goes into like that like really dirty loud like on the snare and then duka duka duka. It's really good. I love it a lot. Battle of the Larynx and Contortionist both are my favorites off the album, and they're back to back. The Contortionist is like return to form for her. It's probably the most like her old stuff. I don't want to say why that's my favorite one because I still really like all of the other new stuff, but I do like that one the best. Another one that I really actually have come to enjoy is Moon Cycle, and I know that's supposed to be like a diss track on her ex. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I haven't heard her say that, but maybe it is. I know there's a specific line, her ex, Oliver Tree, in another song is like bloody and angry like a bitch on her period. And then in Melanie's song, she says something like, I could win a fight on my period. Matter of fact, right now, I could build a pyramid. So it kind of seems like it is definitely in regards to him, but who knows. Nymphology's fun. I like that one a lot. Not much to say there. I just think it's a really fun song. Evil and Womb are also a lot of fun too, and I think they're really good for the end of the album. Evil is another one. It's a good ballad. I definitely scream along to it and think about things that make me angry. And Womb is also a lot of fun. That's how I feel about that one. I do really love this album. I think it's really good.
Cool. Thank you. Subscribe. Subscribe.
Please subscribe to Clover Calypso, and let's get back into the review. My favorites are definitely Death, Tunnel Vision, Battle of the Larynx, and then the last two, Evil and Womb. I think I'd give this album as a whole 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. There are definitely a lot of good elements. You know, the production is really solid, the mixing is really solid, there are some cool ideas, but the stuff that I don't like, I think drags the album down by quite a bit. This album would have been great if it was a lot shorter. I think they could have cut out like 4 or 5 songs and saved that for like the deluxe edition or whatever. I think it's just too long. There are too many ideas going on. It's too dragged out for how dramatic and concept heavy it is. And again, the highs are really high, but then the lows are really low for me because some of the songs are real bangers. The production in a lot of them is really, really good. But then the stuff that I don't care for kind of makes the overall experience a bit worse. So yeah, I think this album could have been a lot shorter, but I do like it. I think it's pretty solid. And the constant thread of vocoding, I think really kind of makes them all feel like it's a part of the same universe. And I think it makes the songs kind of fit together because a lot of the songs are really diverse in sound. So having a sound like that throughout the whole album, I think is really, really good. And I think it's really good production and songwriting on that part. That's it for me. What did you think of the album? Let me know in the comments. I'll try and reply to every single one. Please check out my last video as well. It's really, really good. And please subscribe with the red button below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye. Bye bye bye. Bye.